Ready.
All right. So we've talked about Israel's second to last, and we've talked about his
Have some water.
way to ruin that. If someone turned up the volume to do ASMR with the wine, you just shattered their eardrums with the Red Bull can.
Yeah, that's what I'm living on right now is red wine and Red Bull. The Reds.
The Red.
No shame in that.
Yeah. Do you think anybody's mixed Red Bull with red wine before?
Maybe like drunk, and I bet it was disgusting.
You should do it right now.
I don't have any left.
Oh, I was going to say, your stomach's already been doing it, so
Yeah, basically.
that's why you're looking two different directions right now.
Actually, we were talking about that. If I try to go cross-eyed,
I saw that. It goes like bounce.
I got one like, and then one goes straight.
Let me see.
Oh my God. That's...
Yeah.
Oh my! All right, so Meg can't blink and Lily can't go cross-eyed.
I can, but I have to do like my nose.
What was that show we were watching where they were talking about not being able to blink?
Wink, you mean?
That yeah,
Everybody
I
can
don't
blink,
remember.
not everybody can wink.
it was pretty funny because they tried. They were showing they tried to do it, and they're like,
Marshall.
"That's it." Marshall from How I Met Your Mother can't wink,
Oh my!
and he's like,
I
he's like,
love
"Hey,
How I
that's
Met Your
Meg."
Mother.
All right, so back from the break, we have talked about Israel's second to last, possibly murder, and we've also talked about his childhood and his upbringing and kind of the span of life separate from the murder. So we've set the stage for this guy as a, I hate to use the word, human being.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So let's look into the side of him that is not so humanish, which is most of him. Israel Keyes was known to, I guess the best way to say this is it's very difficult to pin multiple murders on Israel because he was meticulous about the way he committed his murders. We've already kind of highlighted a little bit and noted that the way he planned out these murders was to not plan a person. He planned a location. So Israel had what he called kill kits, where he would travel to a location and he would hide a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket with gun, Drano,
Accessories.
zip ties, all of that. He'd hide these kill kits in a location where he would remember. He'd never write it down, and he'd leave, and he would not come back for years. He just wouldn't.
And no one ever found a kill kit,
No, and
which is crazy.
not all of his kill kits have been found to this day. Even ones that Port Angeles, Washington, he said that there was a kill kit there. No one has ever found one and come forward. There was also wads of cash, so I could understand maybe someone found it and was like, I don't want to come forward with this because there's a weapon. There's all this obvious murder
I
utensils.
mean, if it
but
was
also a lot of
me, I
cash.
would be like, there's some sketchy stuff in a Home Depot bucket, but that is all that I found.
I didn't find any cash, only this gun.
I mean, and we're talking
Not $10,450.
Yeah,
None of that.
We're
Just
talking.
this gun.
Yeah, we're talking 5 digits, grands of cash in these
Wow.
buckets, because the way he operated is as we've already mentioned, he would rent cars, he would drive hundreds of miles out of the way, he would go to his kill kit, he would find a target. The only MO that has ever been noted is that Israel would only go into homes that had an attached garage because it reduced the likelihood that someone would see him going to the person's vehicle. That is the only piece of related MO that he
An
has ever had.
attached garage.
He had to have an attached garage so that he could easily go into the car, take the car, leave. That was it.
If I
Wow.
had that much money to just go drop like 5 figures into like a random state and multiple times, I would be fulfilled enough. I wouldn't need to kill anybody.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
he didn't use money from his construction company. None of the money that he used came from his job.
So again, he still had access to all this money.
Yeah, where did it come from?
After he committed a murder,
Yeah, I know where this is going.
he would then go rob
A
a
bank.
bank.
Oh,
He would-
What?
He would search for banks, and this is part of his kill kit planning. He would find banks that's the bank I'm going to rob, and then not do it for years. But he would find banks that were remote, that had one or two tellers, that he could know multiple exits, 2, 3, 4 separate exits and roads out of town. And he would rob these banks. And he never once funded a murder or traveled on his construction company's dime because he wanted to take care of his family.
Okay.
I mean,
That's pretty fucking slick.
It's slick.
it is, but I just keep that money for myself,
It was
Slick.
part of it. I think that if the murder was the climax of just the
Oh my
jizzing,
god, I hate that.
the
so
bank
much.
robbery was the post-sex cigarette. Like that was what
Wow.
topped it off. That was the cherry.
That was his 82 Bordeaux.
You smoke
yeah.
after sex, baby.
That was
I don't
that
know.
was
I've
just
never checked.
oh god. So that was his just the final bit, and it's not what gave him the most satisfaction, but it was what really funded and
Wow.
yeah, so that's where he got
Okay.
this cash, and he'd put these in kill buckets. But these kill buckets, like I said, he would bury them in locations, and he would not know who he was going after. He'd have no idea. And then he would travel for work, or he'd go somewhere on vacation, or whatever the case may
And
be.
He's like, well, that is so lucky it coincides with this one kill bucket.
Exactly. And he'd be like, this is where I'm going to do it now. He'd go get his kill kit, and he would find a family or find someone that he could say, yep,
Wow.
this is the one. Now, there is speculation, and I'm giving a lot of speculation now because I am going to get into what got him caught.
Mhm.
But again, like I said, there are so many. They don't know. The FBI thinks maybe 11. He never confessed to more than that.
I mean,
Well,
at
why
this
would
point,
he?
but I'm saying at this point, why not? Because he's either going to be in prison for life or death row.
He didn't confess because he was using that as leverage to not
Yeah.
have information released, to not have his name on the internet. He didn't want a public trial. He didn't want these people here. Every time he was interviewed or interrogated, he asked for a cigar or a peanut butter Snickers. And the investigators, the
They're like,
interrogators,
fine.
They give
Yeah.
it to him.
Yeah.
because he would cooperate. He
Yeah.
would give them, but it was never an actual cooperation. It was just these little tidbits of information. It was just this guy thought he was so much fucking smarter than everybody.
Would you say
fucking
that he
else.
is not, though?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know if he maybe murdered 30 plus people and we only know about 11. You sure?
No, I would say, like, let's say we have a chessboard, okay, and we have a
Mhm.
bunch of fucking chess pieces.
He lost me at chess.
Well, we're not playing chess, so you're safe. So I have all the chess pieces, all right? And for the past 18 years, I've been taking chess pieces and then hiding them around the house.
Yeah.
And then 18 years later, you're like, oh, there's a missing chess piece. I'm like, oh, I hid all the others and you'll never fucking find them because guess what? It's been 18 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, of course no one's going to find him. It's not that he's smarter. It's just that he just found one way that worked and he fucking did it.
You know what
I
though?
still think
You
he's
know
smart,
what?
man.
Based on
The way he
that,
did it.
based on
Yeah.
that statement right there,
18 years.
it's no. Thinking about people in academia, a doctorate degree is awarded when one person finds a way that nobody else has done it,
Yes.
and that means they are smarter than all their predecessors.
I don't know, man.
So
I don't.
up until this point in history, I mean, think about this. You can't. The banks are remote, sure, but think about the feat in and of itself to rob a bank once.
I agree.
Yeah.
But remember, this is in the 90s, so forensics, even though it's not that long ago, they're not what they are today.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the murders that he has claimed are attributed to missing persons, and it is because a lot of his initial murders are thought to have been, and in some ways have been proved to have been, in national forests and national parks, where he would target or just find a hiker. He would murder them
And
by
then it's
strangulation.
Like they got lost or something.
By strangulation, and then just push him off a cliff. So it's not that he's necessarily smarter and has found a way to outwit the detectives. It's just the enormity of the national parks in the U.S. are just there. I mean, missing people are crazy.
That's what I do when we go to a national park too.
It's just think about the murders or murders.
I just murdered.
Yeah. So, and trust me,
I'm
we
just
will,
kidding, FBI.
in Steve's Crackpot Corner, we will get into the missing 411 phenomena and the
That makes me not want to go to any parks.
and the incredible number of people that have gone missing. But at least in some ways, yeah, national parks, while they may be our playground, are serial killer playgrounds as well.
Clearly.
But
We were just in
Oh, I love 'em.
Washington back, what, I don't know, year or so ago.
Not even. It was right when.
What's your name again?
was born.
there are thoughts that
Blank the name out.
yeah,
Sorry.
there are thoughts that at Mount Rainier
Yeah.
there is at least one possible missing person that was in Israel Keys related. And there are murders that have never
Serious?
Yeah. There are murders that have never been attributed to them.
So he was at Mount Rainier.
He's been all over the place. And I'm telling you, the internet sleuths have travel records going back to the 90s. And he was here in this state. He was here in this state. And I know at least one, I think it was Crime Junkie mentioned, they did a case where a theory was that Israel Keys was responsible, and it's never been proven, but he was I think it was New York. He was in New York for a few days. He was there 2 days prior. Girl went missing, was found dead the next day. Israel left 2 days later.
That was like that serial killer out of Belgium that he was killing everybody in Belgium, and then it stopped in Belgium, and travel records show he came to the United States, and then it picked up in the area of the United States. It's like
Yeah. that's how
too
these guys
coincidental
work.
to be
Yeah.
coincidental.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
one of the big things I don't want to do is I don't want to give him the attribution of being smarter than the detectives, because I think he's just a flaming piece of dog shit. And
He's a smart piece of dog shit.
I think
He's
he just
fucking smart, dude. Do you
I-
have foresight that far ahead?
I don't know what I'm making for dinner
if I
tomorrow
put,
night.
Right?
it's not about that. It's like but that's the thing. He didn't plan the people. He knows. He's like, oh, to kill someone, I need a bucket and some rope and some zip ties and some Drano. I'm gonna put it in
I
a
didn't
bucket.
realize he was Forrest Gump too.
I don't like this guy. I think he's a
don't like him
fucking
either.
trash bag.
Yeah.
I don't even want to attribute him with being smart enough
For
to
anybody
pass.
listening, Steven's turning purple right now.
I
I think he's legitimately
I
getting
have
mad at
done-
us.
No, I've spent time. This is the most in depth I've ever done
Yeah.
any research.
No,
I've
he's
spent
awful. He's a
time
horrible human. Sure.
in his head. The beginning of this interview,
I can't wait to start
He's
loading
there.
like a picture of Israel Keys into his Tesla or something. So he starts it up. It's like, boom, there it is.
the first 10 minutes of that interrogation video that I've spent hours watching,
Mhm.
the first 10 minutes, he's alone. And I watched it multiple times. He's not talking. He's not doing anything. I want to get in the mind. Like, this is a serial killer.
Yeah.
Like, this is my opportunity. And he's just sitting there. And then he goes, and I spent so much time
Just watching this guy.
watching this dumb fuck whistle. He's not smarter. He just went to a big fucking forest. He's like, I'll kill this guy. I'm going to put this shit in a bucket. They did an IQ test. He tested high average.
Smarter than me. I'm like low average.
Oh,
Oh, Lily.
What's
Wow.
IQ?
huh?
Jay's is 6.
Wait, isn't IQ a furniture store? No, Jay, that's
IKEA.
IKEA.
No, QI is a bike riding gear.
IKEA.
I thought QI was a Mexican restaurant. No, that's Qdoba.
I thought he was a rapper.
Anyway, that's TI, not QI.
Oh,
Um,
that thong.
so anyway, I think I've made my point that I fucking hate this guy.
The smart guy.
Lily. God almighty. What?
Meg's telling us to speed up. We
I'm
should
telling
really
you,
go
we've
on.
been talking about how he's stupid for like 20 minutes.
We got
And
40,
I'm saying he's smart.
we got
so.
45 minutes to go, baby.
Okay.
Fine,
Just
fine,
wait.
Fine.
So, anywho,
Fine.
Israel
fine.
Keys is, I think we can all agree, he's at least he's a flaming piece of bad shit. So,
A smart one.
anywho, unfortunately for him, very fortunately for us, he actually turned out to be a dumbass in the end. And that's how he got caught. So Israel very much looked up to BTK.
The rapper?
Wow.
BTK, like
The BTK killer.
Burger King. No,
The BK Lounge.
BK Lounge.
Now, I'm sure our listeners have heard of the BTK killer. He's one of the big name, similar to Bundy. And you know what? I actually think I've got that wrong. He looked up to Bundy. He did not look up to BTK. He thought BTK was a piece of shit.
I see what he's doing
Well, yeah.
here. BTK, he's using the school roster. Bundy, Ted Killer.
Do you know what BTK stands for?
Not a fucking clue.
Bound, torture, kill.
Yeah, bind, torture, kill.
Oh.
That's why he's the
What was his
BTK
name?
killer.
Robert Lundy?
No, I did not know.
No, Lundy was on.
See,
Criminal
when you
Minds.
say
Ted Bundy.
See, when you say these things, oh, he's like the Bundys. No, because you know what? Bundy is a synonymous name with any American. You say the BTK killer.
I have no idea.
But
No
that's,
idea.
Okay.
that's the same thing.
You've never heard of the BTK killer?
No.
I heard
Oh
of the
my-
BTK killer
oh
when
my
I was
God.
like 10.
This
Well,
is he out of
excuse
Washington
me.
too?
No, he's on the East Coast.
No, BTK.
Sure.
BTK has like documentaries made, and
Wow.
he's one of like
Most
their
prolific
big
serial
name
killers.
serial killers. He's one of them. So Dennis
watch a
Rader.
documentary.
Dennis
See, I
Rader
know
is
like
his name.
Richard Ramirez. I know John Wayne Gacy.
He's on par with John Wayne Gacy, if not
Yo,
worse.
John
Yeah.
Wayne Gacy is featured in American Horror Story Hotel.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Every time he popped up, I was like, oh, Steven would love this.
Yeah. So I think, you know what? Just as because you two don't know him, I think we should do a soon episode on the BTK killer.
Call it.
That's fine, because
got
I
it.
got Army Hammer, bud. Stay tuned, folks.
But anyway, he looked up to Bundy because Bundy would travel. Bundy,
Yeah.
just very similar, and he wanted to be like Bundy.
Mhm.
I don't know if our listeners know how Bundy got caught.
That's a different story.
Fucking idiot.
It applies. It
Okay.
applies. Ted Bundy got caught because of a driving violation.
Mhm.
I did know
Fucking
that.
Numerous times.
Yeah. And the police were coming up to him, and
was like a
he
fluke.
tried to
Mhm.
get away by turning off his car lights and then
Dumb
running
bitch.
stop signs.
Mhm.
Okay. This is who Israel Dumbfuck Keys looked up to. And guess what? Israel Keys got caught
Doing the same thing?
in a similar way
What a dumb.
because of being a dumb fuck. So this brings us to the murder of Samantha Koenig. Now, I'm going to tell our viewers as a warning. Later,
Listeners,
yeah, listeners. Well,
you dumb bitch.
if they view what I'm talking about, then they're viewers. I don't know. I'm trying to justify it. I'm a dumb bitch. So I will warn our listeners. This is graphic. This is very fucked up.
Parental advisory.
And we will
Rated
be
R.
we will be making a post. So if you are looking for the images that I end up talking about, you'll be able to find it on our Instagram. But again, just be warned. I'm not pulling any punches here. So
We don't
The-
cater to Nancy's.
we don't need no fucking Nancy. So the murder of Samantha Koenig. And this one actually, I will admit, hit me a little bit because my wife was a coffee barista.
This freaked me out. This is how I knew of this guy.
Okay.
I met
You
my,
met him?
No, this story that he's about to tell.
So my wife was a coffee barista at a drive-through coffee stand in Washington, which is where I met her.
You know you have to watch a baby later, right?
I'm fine. She's got half the bottle in that glass, and she
I'm
hasn't
trying
even
to
touched it.
abide
And you
by
have
my
completed
diet.
the other half of the bottle.
Yeah.
So Samantha Koenig was a drive-through barista, 18 years old, in Alaska.
Ah.
And this occurred in February of 2012.
Okay.
Samantha Koenig was working in the evening. You know what? I say evening, but it's Alaska. It was just dark out.
It was
So it was probably like
it
1
was
p.m.
noon.
Could have
Yeah.
been whenever.
Noon.
Fun fact, I would love to live in Alaska,
Well, that's not
but
going to happen now.
I know.
I think
So-
you could convince me to.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I am too.
I'm
Again.
telling you, the conjugal visits with our spouses. And
I
we'll
can't
just-
wait. We're gonna have so much fun.
So a man approached Samantha Koenig at her coffee stand and asked for an Americano.
Okay.
This-
Happens every day.
I'll just say
It's not
It's
like
not
a unique
unusual.
order, Stephen.
I'll just say obviously this is Israel Keys.
Yeah.
In his interviews, not only did he ask for a cigar and a peanut butter Snickers,
He asked for Americanos.
yes, only because of Samantha Koenig. And he claimed it was only because of that he asked for the Americanos as somewhat of a joke with the interrogators.
What a piece of shit.
I'm telling
Wicked smart.
Yeah.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smart, dude.
So she served this guy a cup of coffee. Thinks nothing of it. I mean, like you said, everybody orders an Americano. It's not a weird order. That's what I ordered all the time, and I didn't kill anybody
I was
that you
actually
know of.
we
thinking
know
about
of.
making one tomorrow.
I love an Americano. God, I
do
just
too.
love the jitters that make me be like, I see sounds. So, she makes the Americano. She hands it to him. She takes the payment, turns around to continue cleaning or whatever it is necessary, and looks up. And the man has opened the door to the coffee stand and has a gun pointed at her. He orders her.
This Americana was not made correctly.
I asked for
She
agave,
clearly
not
did
Splenda.
not have a panic button.
Yeah.
Well, he's already
Dude.
got a gun on her.
Like not in a,
Panic button.
like not.
She's moving
as
around.
as a real question. Do coffee shops like that where they are isolated? Do they have panic buttons?
It depends on the owner.
Starbucks
Like,
do.
yeah,
They
like,
do.
The
Not like a
one-
panic button, but there's something specific with the safe.
There. Oh, see, the one I worked at, the last, we had panic buttons.
Really?
Interesting.
And
Because
they
they're
were-
very small. There's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go, and
Yeah.
if someone like attacks you, you can. I mean, you can cooperate, but you can panic button, and the police get an alert.
Well, I'll leave it to y'all to decide, but there is security video of this entire
I've seen
Event.
it.
Oh.
I've seen it.
Mm.
the whole thing. So he has a gun on her. He orders her to turn off the lights and then get in the cash register and get the cash. Obviously, he hasn't robbed a bank recently.
Sure. So why not hit up a small... Okay, whatever.
He then takes her to his car, a rental, orders her to get in, and they drive off. He stops at a red light, and a police car stops next to him.
Dumb bitch.
Samantha did not try to alert the police officer because he still had the gun and she was too afraid. And nothing happens with this.
Mhm.
That's
This,
so
like,
dumb.
Bet you she regrets that decision.
Well,
I bet you
I-
she
she doesn't regret
does.
anything now.
can't.
The man continued to drive around, and at 2 a.m., he takes Samantha back to his house where his girlfriend
In Alaska?
Yeah, this is all in Alaska, where he lived.
and 10-year-old daughter are asleep in the house.
Was he that desperate?
He waited until 2 a.m. because he wanted to make sure they were asleep. He had a shed behind his house.
A she shed?
A murder
I'm not
shed.
even, no, I'm not even going to give him a pronoun. It's an it shed. He had an it shed because he's a pile of shit.
You just said he a bunch of times.
All right, well, I'll go fuck myself.
He had a she shed. Say that 10 times fast.
He had a she shed.
Nah.
He had a she shed. 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 He had a she shed.
I'm really
God
fucking
damn.
impressed.
It's impressive.
Theater, bitches.
This is why your blowjobs are so
Well,
good.
that's why she hasn't had any wine yet.
Actually, I
That's
drink
the
like that
problem.
much. I
Like,
drink
she's
that much.
completely sober.
You know what when she was
Jay's
doing
like,
that,
he
when she
shed.
was doing that, all I could think about was Ron Burgundy doing his like.
I was gonna cut
Exercises.
This. I'm gonna leave
That's
it. That was really
fantastic. That's
fucking
really
funny.
You better
Nice, well
fucking
done.
leave that.
That's
Unique
impressive.
New York.
Theater.
Unique New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah, Ron Burgundy right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh my god. So he takes her home. He left her in the car. Obviously, she couldn't get out. He went inside to make sure his wife and his daughter were asleep.
Well, you just said it was his girlfriend, so was it
Yeah,
his
get
wife
your
or his
story
girlfriend?
straight.
Girlfriend.
Okay.
And then he came back out and got Samantha and took her to his shed. He put a noose around her neck, put her in the shed, put a scarf in her mouth to keep her quiet, and then he went to sleep.
She didn't try to make a run for it when he went inside to check on his family.
I don't.
The
I
car
get.
must have been locked.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that.
From
It's
the
also.
inside?
It's also
I was
Alaska.
thinking,
I would have honked the horn.
Well, it's
I like
also.
how she just glazed over that. Wasn't the car locked? She would have been on the inside.
it's not like a
police
child
car.
lock.
Yeah,
Oh.
it could have been a child lock. It could, if I mean, she could have honked the horn, but she doesn't know. I mean, she drives up. This guy's at his house, and he walks inside. She doesn't know there's family inside. She doesn't know if there's more people there.
Oh man,
It's Alaska. She
point?
could have maybe tried to make a run for it, but if he lives in the middle of nowhere, if he's, she may not know where to go. They've been driving around since 2 a.m.
Listen, man.
or till 2 a.m.
She could have.
I agree. You want to do something, but I don't want to sit here and victim blame. And, I did misspeak. He didn't go to sleep right after he put Samantha in the shed.
I'm Samantha.
I'm going to do it again. Everyone knows after listening to this, but I'm going to warn everyone. This is rough. He put the noose around her neck. He put a scarf in her mouth to make her quiet. He then ordered her to lay down on her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
She managed to spit the handkerchief out and begs him not to rape her.
And then,
Obviously, he doesn't listen. He puts it back in her mouth. He then uses the knife to cut up her clothes again, which is somewhat similar to what he did previously. And then he rapes her both vaginally and anally.
Oh god.
Numerous times. He then pulled the noose upwards until it was suffocating her, and he waited for her to die. Once he is sure she is dead, he put her in a sleeping bag and he left. And that is when not only did he go to sleep, he went on vacation with his family and
Where'd they go?
left her in the shed.
So I read that he flew down to New Orleans and hopped on a 2-week cruise.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about the story that I know.
Yep, that's the case. So a little bit of backstory to Samantha. She had been texting and talking with her boyfriend that day. And obviously Israel had her cell phone. And when he opened it and he looked at it, he saw that they'd had a little bit of an argument that day. And he decided to use this to his advantage. He texted the boyfriend and said, "Fuck you. I need some time. I'm going to a friend's." That's it. A little bit later, he sends "fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," all from Samantha's phone. This causes the boyfriend and the police to not think too much into it, because guess what? The boyfriend is now a suspect in a disappearance, but they also don't think it's just a disappearance. They think she's just gone to a friend's and is taking some time. So he takes a 2-week vacation. He then, and this is what is so strange, and there's not a whole lot of information as to why he did what he did in this case.
But
that is
it's
so
pretty
different.
fucked up.
It's very fucked up, but the escalation doesn't make sense along a timeline. He's been doing this for 18 years. It just doesn't make sense unless it was he expended his thrills to the extent that he could, and he needed more. He needed a little bigger adrenaline rush. So I'm sorry, this is very tough to talk about. He then texts the boyfriend and eventually demands ransom from the family. He's never demanded ransom before. He demands this and needs,
Was his company in jeopardy or anything like that? Or is he just like...
It's just a total change of what he did
Yeah,
before.
okay.
Nothing in his life
So
had
he's
changed.
still financially stable and everything. He's just like...
Yeah,
took a
there's
different
nothing wrong. Obviously there's a lot wrong, but there's
Right.
nothing that's like causing.
in his original life.
No, there's
with
really
Interesting.
there's really no information as to why he changed up his MO. As little of one as he had, and I will admit my details on this portion are a little fuzzy because a lot of this, like I said, I've been diving into this for weeks now. I don't have physical notes on this, but I will give you the best of my recollection, which
Okay.
I can almost guarantee is pretty close to accurate.
I'm basically perfect. So
No, I just like it's less that and more like if I fuck it up, I don't care because this is Israel Keys and I don't give a fuck about him.
okay.
You wanted to say he was smart, didn't you? Oh, really quick. Side note.
I wanted to say this so bad. Can I say it, please?
I love that we were here. Go ahead, babe.
Okay, so when we were saying how he was smart, that made
Wicked
me
smart.
Yeah, that made me think about when
We went to the store.
we were driving and the car's like directions will tell you to go on Boston Street, like Boston.
The Tesla
Boston.
has a Boston accent when it says
depending
Boston.
on depending on like
be ready and record it for us.
depending on like where you're going, it speaks
Guess
with
what?
that accent.
She's driven it. You two are welcome to test drive it at any time.
Oh, I can't
Cool.
wait to go down Boston Street.
It does. It literally says turn right on Boston Street. It just,
It just does it.
it's like, thank you, Papa Elon.
Dude,
Yeah,
you have
it
a
was
jokester
really
of a
exciting.
car.
I know.
That's funny.
Continue right on Boston Street.
That's funny. Do you think that when you're up in like Massachusetts, it uses
Oh,
that full accent?
I hope so, and I hope when it's like, let's go to Texas.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Or
I
when
really
you go to
hope
New
so,
Orleans,
yeah.
like we live it
Nolans.
up by a Nunday.
Let's go Nolans.
It's got an islands.
What?
This was good.
Homeway, make it. I like to see home nation.
Can you please do that? Like when you go to New
We-
Orleans?
We
will.
were. I love the New Orleans accent that
Dude, I love
what's
New
his
Orleans.
face
I
on
hope.
Criminal Minds has because it's like it's so muted. JJ's
Oh
husband.
yeah.
I
Oh my
also
God, it's
hope that
awful,
like
isn't
when
it,
we
though?
go to
So
like if we go to Canada, it's like I'm sorry you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you guys ready to go out in a boot?
I'm sorry you missed that turn I told you about 4,000 feet
so-
away.
Doesn't
I'm so
every
sorry.
kid take pancakes and maple syrup to lunch every day? I don't that
Hey.
turn
Ah,
kind
I don't know
Time
what
out.
that was.
The time out.
it was like a Canadian Irish. I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we had this fun because it's about to get. This is about the darkest thing that I'll ever talk about on this podcast.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm ready.
That I'll ever talk about. So Keys demands this ransom, and this is after his 2-week vacation. He demands a $30,000 ransom, and remember, Samantha is in the shed behind his house. It's Alaska. It's cold, so there's not a whole lot of decomposition that happens. Israel decides that he needs proof that he has Samantha and that, quote unquote, she's alive for the family. So Israel goes to his shed. He applies foundation to Samantha's corpse. He then takes fishing line and sews her eyes open. He takes a picture and sends it to the
God.
police. And
With the newspaper with that date on it.
and she is holding a newspaper in her dead hands.
There's
There are.
pictures.
There are. And she is holding a newspaper with the date in order to make the family and police believe. And the family receives this photo.
In the photo, she's not holding it. You can see
That's right.
on the if you're looking at the photo, just so we're viewing it or describing it for our viewers, she
Listeners.
looks. Oh God, listeners, you're right. So if you're looking at the photo, it looks like it's a Polaroid, and on the left hand side is very clearly. It looks like she's actually just beaten up and not dead. Her eyes are very wide open, and then there's a hand coming in from the right side holding an Anchorage Daily News newspaper, and it's a black and white photo.
And wasn't this like she had she was frozen?
She was she was frozen
She
because
was
of
frozen
Alaska.
because of the Alaska weather.
And I didn't want to talk about this, but now I'm going to. She was frozen solid when he returned from the 2-week trip. So Israel claimed that he used hair dryers to thaw her body so that he could sew her eyes shut or open.
So he didn't break the skin.
Yeah. After he took the picture, he then used a Lily's shaking. Like, I'm telling you guys,
It was bad.
this is tough even now to talk about. No, and I've listened to this and I've been in as much as I can in this case and in this guy's head. This is tough. But he then used a jigsaw to dismember her body and dumped her body in a lake. And let me see. I want to see the name of the lake because there's a little bit of a narrative with this. Matanuska. So he dumped her body in Matanuska Lake near Wasilla, Canada. The reason
Alaska.
yes. The reason I mention this lake is because Israel Keyes loved to fish. And he was ice fishing when he dumped her body. So he cut the hole and dumped her body. He then ice fished and took the fish home where he cooked the fish for his family.
Those
And
fish were swimming in dead bodies.
and they ate the fish dinner that Israel had dumped the body in the lake at the same time. Yeah.
It's like on what's the hotel in LA?
Cecil.
The Cecil Hotel. When all the people are like, I drank that water. Like,
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
it is. And
And they're like, the water tasted weird. They're like, yeah.
this is one of those awkward laughs where it's like I need to laugh because like this is fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked.
I'm not kidding you, and I haven't told Meg about this. I've had nightmares for the past week and a half because
about this.
every run I go on, every time I'm in the office, I turn on a podcast or I turn on his interrogation or I read his stories, and it's just like I've been ingrained in it. And man,
I just saw a picture of the guy, and he's different than I thought he would look. Like he just
normal
looks like
guy.
Yeah, normal.
No one expects it. It's
You know
similar to
what,
Bundy.
though?
Nobody
Like-
thought Bundy was going to be the guy.
The worst serial killers, they look normal because
Yeah.
people trust them.
Well, and
Yeah.
Bundy he was a handsome guy. So
Yeah,
of course
and it
women
just-
are like, oh,
They're like,
hello,
"What's
mister.
up, Mr. Bundy?"
I know.
And it's just like, but like I said to our listeners, we will have those pictures again. Don't be surprised if they really mess with you. And you know what? If they don't, that's okay. It's just like it's
You
messed
just
up.
Go get yourself checked out.
Maybe go talk to a doctor about that.
Well, and you know, I hate to quote Israel, but all that true crime bullshit, sometimes I feel
Yeah.
like we get a little desensitized.
Yeah.
This is the one that reminded me how messed up murder actually is.
Yeah. Wow.
So how did Israel Keyes get caught?
How did he get caught?
Yeah. So Israel Keyes had Samantha's credit card. And
Okay.
prior to her death, I don't know if it was before or after the rapes, he did force her to give him her PIN number to her ATM.
Okay.
You know, if you give your PIN number backwards, it works, but it calls the police.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That's not good because half the time I do my PIN number and then I do it backwards in different things.
So, and
So.
Israel actually was, I've already mentioned where he was so close to getting caught because Samantha was in the car. Samantha had left her wallet in the coffee stand, and Israel actually, before all of the rape and murder, he drove back to the coffee stand where he went in to get her wallet. Her boyfriend was at the coffee stand, saw him, and chased him because her boyfriend didn't know where she was. Her boyfriend did not catch him, and Samantha was alive.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So he chased him because he
Because-
took her wallet? Is that
because
what-
this guy went into the coffee stand and left, and this boyfriend didn't know who he was,
Mhm.
and his girlfriend was missing.
Wow. I bet that fucking just eats him up.
Yeah. So Israel had this debit card and decided to go on a road trip.
She's a barista. It's not like she had a ton of money. Let's just be honest.
You'd
But
be
he-
surprised. You can make some good
Well,
money.
he tested. It was small
it's not
withdrawals.
Starbucks. It's not.
It was small withdrawals. He took some money out in Alaska
Yeah.
to test it. Once he realized her PIN number worked, he killed her. He then took some money out in, again, this is all off of memory, the best that I can. He then went to Arizona, I believe, and took some money out there.
That's a long drive.
Well, he
Yeah.
flew there,
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
rented a car in Arizona. He took some money out there. He took some money out a few hundred miles away. He took some money out in Texas. And Texas is where he got caught because there was
Chaos.
information on, hey, there's this possible murder, and
Mhm.
he had her wallet with her license and her debit card, and it makes you wonder, like, why after
Why this
18
one time?
years, why the
It's like he wanted to get caught.
exactly? Did he want to get caught? Did he want, again, Bundy was caught for a
Well,
driving violation.
Yeah.
Which is odd though, because usually when a serial killer wants to get caught, when they're like ready for that time, it's because they want the recognition and the
Mhm.
fame. But
Yeah.
he was very adamant about
He
like
didn't
not
want it.
having his name in the papers because of his child.
I don't know. Maybe he just got too big for his britches, and he just didn't
Well,
think
that was
he'd get
like
caught.
most recently. Little side note: do you guys remember that van attack that happened in Toronto a couple of
Yeah.
years ago? So the judge just handed down the sentence not too long ago, and he was very adamant during his trial that he wanted the notoriety for having committed this van attack. She refused to issue his name in any of her sentencing documents
Good
or
for
any of her
her.
oral arguments, and she ordered the Canadian, like the people who do the Internet Authority, to remove his name from key searches. And in the sentencing report, she used the name John Doe because she did not want to give him the notoriety of his name being famous.
The crazy
Yeah.
thing
I
is,
think
though,
like that's what people
Yeah,
should
it's how it
always
should
do.
be.
Mhm.
but the crazy thing is, that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
He
Right.
asked so that his daughter wouldn't be affected. As I played in that clip
Yeah.
earlier, he didn't want his daughter to
Mhm.
search. And he said, I know that some issues and some things that I did will come out, but I don't think everything is necessary. And I won't play all the clips, but he talks about how he doesn't think that it's necessary to go into everything he did during the trial, especially if it's a public trial. He doesn't want his necrophiliac tendencies and those things to come out to the public.
Sure.
Too late, buddy.
Yeah.
But that's what's so weird is he doesn't want the notoriety. He doesn't
Yeah.
want this
I
information
agree. That
coming
is
out.
That point
weird.
for him,
It's
is
so
like, it's obviously
weird.
all serial killers are just mentally fucked up. But like for him, it's like he recognizes that what he's
Yeah.
doing is fucked up.
And
It's
I-
just so compulsive.
I don't
Yeah.
want, that's why I've been so adamant. I don't want to say that he is smarter than the average serial killer. I think he is unique. And I think that the way he thinks about things and processes information, I think it's unique.
Mhm.
I don't think he's smarter, and I don't want to give him that benefit
Yeah.
of saying he is smarter than the average person. I just think he had a unique and strange way of looking at life that maybe hasn't been seen very often or hasn't
Yeah.
been caught. And you know what? Like that I can give him because unique doesn't make you special. Unique means you can be fucked up too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he is caught in Lufkin, Texas at a cafe.
Nice.
I got a friend from there.
Really?
Really?
hmm
Yeah, he's caught
I
there
went to school with her.
Okay.
on March 13th.
Oh,
2012.
What's the date
Oh my
today?
God,
I
Oh my
wonder
God, it's
why
March
I
13th.
recorded this episode today.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you guys! Oh my god, it's so cool.
That
It's
is
his, capture anniversary.
Crazy.
Sorry,
How
I know it's ridiculous.
Jason's
interesting.
really proud of himself.
I am. I know it's really
Oh,
ridiculous.
we should
but
have pushed this off
no-
until tomorrow.
no, but I know, but no one
So do you want me to
knew.
hit delete on the recording?
No one knew why I recorded this right now, and this is why I chose today. Come on, it was pretty cool for everybody, right?
No.
So quick recap.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Thanks, Meg.
She hit 2.
Aw.
So on March 13th in 2012, he is caught in the parking lot of the Cotton Patch Cafe in Lufkin, Texas.
That
Cotton
sounds so
Patch
fucking
Cafe.
Texas.
But you know what? I bet it's fucking delicious.
Arrested,
Looking it up right now.
Arrested by Texas Highway Patrol Corporal Brian Henry and Texas Rangers.
Oh yeah,
Texas
Ranger.
Ranger Stephen Rayburn.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Chuck Norris
It would have been so
or
good.
Walker.
Walker. I'm
He
gonna name
was
my kid Walker and be like, "You're gonna grow up to be
Right.
a Texas
Cotton
Ranger."
Patch Cafe.
because the debit card had been traced through, and I missed this one. So again, my recollection, not only Arizona, but also New Mexico. He was then extradited to Alaska, where he confessed to his crime, the murder, and his trial was scheduled to begin in March 2013.
Let me tell you, the Cotton Patch Cafe looks delicious.
Does it?
Yes.
So
It's Texas.
I will.
Yeah.
I love
Texas.
Texas.
I will go ahead and wrap this up with a little bit of final information on him. As I've already mentioned, he didn't really have a victim profile.
No, he just went after people.
Victims of planned opportunity is what I like to call it. He planned his opportunity to find the victim, and I'm TMing that. Victims of planned opportunity. TM.
TM.
So-
TM.
In the case of the couriers that we opened this show with, or in the case of the couriers as we opened last show with, sorry, I did that just in case we make it a 2-parter or 1-parter. Keys actually, as I mentioned, he was in Vermont. He flew to Chicago and then he rented a car to drive 1,000 miles to find the kill kit he had planted 2 years prior, and then found the couriers and performed the murders. Keys had no type of victim, and there are questions as to a few international murders.
Yeah. I was
Whether
gonna ask-
Keys was
yeah, I gonna
involved.
ask
He
about
had
that.
international travel. He had time, roughly the same time, where the
Quick trip
FBI
to Canada.
believes Europe.
Oh,
They
wow.
believe he rented vehicles in Europe, and there are possible murders there, but they don't know. As I mentioned, he did these interviews, and the interrogations, he was relatively cooperative. He only really admitted to 4 murders.
Okay.
Only ever officially attributed were 3. The 4th, there was no evidence because it had been too long. The reason the FBI attributes a minimum of 11 is because in Key's cell, he used his own blood to paint 11 pictures of skulls and then hang "We Are All One" on his wall.
Sure.
As people do.
And then also painted, I believe it was a pentagram, something or other. Again, he has this angsty teen that didn't grow up in his head, and I think that's honestly all that is.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I disapprove of their viewpoints,
Interrupting
satanic,
cow. Moo. Thank you. Sorry, I had to
Wow.
get it in here.
as
That's what he
much
said.
as much as I disapprove of their viewpoints, satanic believers have actually never been attributed to mass murders or major crimes other than people who committed it and then
You just negated
In-
Richard Ramirez's entire career.
His whole
in
career.
retrospect attributed it to Satanism. But most of the time it's minor crimes, minor thefts, minor burglaries, vandalism, things like that. So again, I don't
Mhm.
espouse that at all, but that is
Manson
the case.
murders.
Hey, I want to throw in here. This was not my episode, but I think it's been a great episode for me.
You had a good episode, buddy.
So, whatever happened to Israel Keys?
So Israel Keys, as I mentioned, he had those paintings of his own blood.
That's gross.
Honestly.
Multiple
Ew, David.
multiple interrogations. He would give tidbits of information, and that was really that. He did attempt to escape court, which he has tried to escape court the day before the
Paula
6-hour interrogation. Which I'll play the clip for you now. So there you heard he's talking about his possible escape from court, and he's making mention. He's like, I'm still going to cooperate. I'm still the same guy that you expect. Like, I just had to take the chance that was there. Like, there was a chance to escape. I had to try it. Like, and he uses that fucking laugh. That fucking laugh that sounds like a pig getting fucked.
Wow, that's graphic.
Don't like
It
that.
is, I know, but
Content warning.
That's the whole episode.
Parental
is content warning.
advisory.
So anyway, so that was his. That's what happened after he was caught, and then
Is he still chilling right now?
he's not.
Is he dead? Did they
Death
fry
row?
him?
It
they
is
inject
Alaska.
him?
On December 2nd, 2012, as you heard in one of the interviews earlier, he said
that was quick.
Yeah.
in one of the earlier interviews, he said, "I don't plan on being around much longer."
He killed himself, didn't he?
While being held at the Anchorage Correctional Complex, he died via self-inflicted cuts on his wrists and strangulation. A suicide note was found, and it was multiple pages. Most of it was just rambling.
Sure.
It's very graphic as well. It talks about his murder or the feeling of murder. You can look it up. I'm not even going to reference it right now because I think that the manifesto. I just think that the manifesto idea, I don't want to give credence to it. And it was his ode to murder, but it had no clues to possible victims, and so they've never been able to identify or reference or attribute any other murders to him.
What's so infuriating to me, though, is how often people are able to commit suicide in prisons purely because of complete
and it blows my he made in this 6-hour interrogation there are at least 5 references to suicide.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it. I could hear
and
it.
I just it's a fuck up on the Fed's part, and maybe they do want him dead and not to deal with it.
They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and like I can
It's like
get
Epstein.
it, and I feel for the interrogators. I really do, because they have to go in there and listen to this and not be disgusted. They have to sit there and laugh at his jokes, and they have to act like he is their friend.
Yeah.
But God, it is fucked up. So those pictures of the skulls were found after he died, along with a pentagram. That's why the FBI believes, and these pictures were referenced in 2020. That's why they believe that this leads to 11 victims.
Mm-hmm.
But he claims and made mentions of missing persons, and this could be attributed up to mid-30s, possibly 40 victims across the U.S. and maybe in Europe.
Well, that's fucked.
And that is Israel Keys. I apologize for the heaviness. This is, Doc Brown. Why is everything heavy in the future?
Yeah, it was fairly uplifting.
But no, that was. I'm thankful to be done with this.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I've kept it under wraps how much I've studied and how much I've researched, but it's fucked with me. It is fucked up.
I see that. I feel like sometimes when you invest yourself in something, I felt like that with the Jean Bonnet. You watch that much, and you just get engrossed in it, and it just fucks with you. And wow. And
I spent time just watching him sit in silence in his cell because I wanted to figure out what the fuck is wrong with this guy. Yeah. And it just trying to put myself in his shoes, it was messed up.
Yeah.
And you start visualizing what he could have seen, you just don't want to, you don't even want to think about it. So
yeah, that's rough, dude. Wow.
But yeah, that was Israel Keys. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Pretty light.
Yeah. But hey, for everybody out there, I just ask, if you get the opportunity, please head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, or wherever you listen, just leave us a little star rating. And if you have something to add or prefer to hear, let us know. Reach out to us at andnowwe'rehaunted@gmail.com. We love to listen. We love to get ideas, listener shows, listener episodes. We've got an Instagram. We've got a Facebook. We've referenced those before. Just go over to those and listen to them.
Yeah, give us a follow on Twitter. It's ANWH podcast, and Now We're Haunted on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
It's all there.
and we want to improve this. I know we've kind of reduced our number of episodes per month, but it's because we want to increase the quality. So quality over quantity. Just let us know what you think.
Yeah, episode ideas, give us a shout. We'd
For
love to hear
sure.
'em.
For sure. And I mentioned Crackpot Corner. We've got possible ideas in the works for the future, but let's just keep working at this. I know that, a lot of true crime podcasts out there, but not a whole lot have our dynamic. So let us know what you think. We appreciate your listens. And Jay.
And after a dark journey with Israel Keys,
So dark.
one bottle of red wine and some bourbon later, we've looked into the void.
And now we're haunted.
haunted.